idea.
It's just BurnEye!
Hey, BurnEye just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.
All right, it's the middle of the week, but it's the weekend. We are live. We've got Tartarian Truth, Shem Jacobs, Lucius Aurelian joining us for the first time, and William Antediluvian America. How are you guys?
Doing great, man.
Doing wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for joining. We had to make this one a little bit early, as we're also going to have to cut it a little bit short because I'm going to the dentist to get a tooth chopped out of my mouth. And I guess, Lucius, you also have a dentist coming to your property right now, but to take it out of a horse, not yourself, luckily.
Shoo!
That's going to be intense.
Oh, Lucius, you're muted if you're trying to talk.
Oh, I said it's going to be a grand old time. I get to hold the horse down.
Damn. Well, I guess the thing is, though, the horse trusts you over anyone else. So it just depends on the amount of painkillers the vet has for the horse as it yanks the tooth. I don't know. I've branded animals before. That's horrible and it's never fun.
Oh boy.
But yeah, that's growing up on a ranch back in the day. They don't really do that now. Now they've got the GPS tracking and stuff more. And yeah, anywho, those are years gone. You all have been looking at a lot of pyramids and mounds around all of your places lately, and it's got me excited as I've also been finding more and more around my area here in the Northwest Canada as well, and then right below me in Montana. And then all three of you are in the classic American Eastern area, sort of, for the most part. But there are mounds absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, I'm out in Virginia, but I've been doing most of my research on Colorado, New Mexico, Southwest U.S.
Nice.
Have you been out there? Have you been out there in person? Or are you?
Yeah, well, I was born and raised in California, and I've toured pretty much all over the U.S. I was a video and sound guy, toured with a lot of rock bands for like 20 years, so seen a lot of this countryside.
Nice. That's awesome. I actually in my very, very early younger days, at the age of 21 to 27, I had these companion passes for WestJet, Canadian Airlines. So I got to like fly for free on standby everywhere. And then one of my best friends, Smokey, he owned Black Sheep Promotions, which at one point was the third largest promotions company behind Live Nation and the Union before he sold it and got into politics. But yeah, I was traveling a lot with a lot of different groups. Back in the day, like Wu-Tang, I got to experience across Canada a bit. Was fun. Was in a car accident with oh my god, what the heck was his name? Akon. Yes, Akon. He some Asian lady rear-ended us in Vancouver, and he's like, "Oh, my back! You saw that? I'm so sorry." Oh my god, man.
Akon and Young Jeezy. It's crazy.
What else? There's countless more. There's pictures on my Facebook for anyone that wants to go. But see, that was the fake times. Now we're into what's real. And what's real is that we're digging up history everywhere. And I can't wait to go to the Medicine Hat Badland Guardian soon. And also we'll be going to check out or back to Mount Yamaniska for my birthday in about a month's time. And yeah, I guess, Shem, you were on live when I was showing that the other day. William, Lucius, have you had a chance to see those?
I have
Absolutely.
not. I'm still getting caught up on a lot of stuff.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, I'm pretty intrigued with all the geoforming for sure. I found some geoglyphs myself around the Spanish Peaks area when I was doing my research on that.
Yeah, the Spanish Peaks and that whole mountain chain. Terry Carter, if you know his channel, goes deep into all sorts of treasure hunters and experiencers throughout that area. That it's just filled with mystery and giants, apparently, and Aztec gold. This is a picture I took from Mount Yamanisca here from the top, but it's these two big monolith guys there, and then you can, the color's not really that great, but to the right of them, there's two more sets that are about half the size each. And that I've got pictures and video of them as the sun went throughout the day that highlighted a bunch of faces on them. And then directly behind them, there's that carved line, and it goes parallel and then up, which I believe is a carved staircase into that goes all the way from here up over, and this is the other one on the opposite side that also goes to an area. And yeah, here you can see.
Since the last conversation we had about this, BurnEye, I've never heard about it before. I'm sure many people have. I discovered this. It's a tomb, so it's technically a mound, but it looks exactly like the mounds we find in North America, the conical mounds, and it's called the Herodium. It's in Israel. I can bring up some pictures of it real quick. Supposedly the tomb of Herod the Great, but the interesting thing about it is the way that they were describing it reminded me of the Tower of Babylon, because it was basically like a city going up all the way in the mound, and then on the interior of it, they have all these ridiculous rooms. Like I think they had bathhouses, they had different chambers for the king. Apparently his tomb is there. So hold on, let me bring it up.
Definitely.
It's unbelievable. And maybe I can send you a video and we can play some of this. Guy did a tour of it. I was shocked when I was watching it.
Heck yeah. The more the merrier on these.
So
and
let me
right? Like, and it's like they try to claim that sort of thing would be maybe a volcano mound or something like that, but this one's actually documented. Maybe because it's in Israel. It's like, why? It's weird. In Israel, they actually acknowledge them, and they're like, "There's giants buried here." They'll say for a lot of them, because it's like it's written in their history.
It's just unbelievable how massive this is, and they admit that it's a man-made mountain. The reason that I found out about this is because I've been reading the Antiquities of the Jews by Flavius Josephus, and he describes this in that book, and says that they say it's a man-made mountain. And let me see if I can actually just bring up the text of it, how they describe it. But yeah, I mean, these pictures are just insane. There's a video too that maybe if we continue on this topic, I'll send it in the chat and we can watch some of it. I don't know what everyone wants to talk about, but just real quick, just look, like some of the mounds that I've been showing recently look exactly like this, just a lot smaller. So who knows what's inside of them? Remember that during the stream the other night, we were looking at the bunny mound that had the door on the side of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, yeah, exactly. Like this is a perfect parallel. Could be the same sort of thing for sure.
You know what the issue they have with a lot of these structures is the fact that some of them they have documented in academia. And in my former career, you'll find that certain ones like this, they have documented and they can't let go of that historical documentation that they have. Therefore, they have to acknowledge that they're artificial structures. So they're sort of stuck, it seems.
Well, the city that this is in is called Caesarion or something like that. It's like named after Augustus Caesar. The entire city is unbelievable. Like there's like a hippodrome there on the coast. They have this massive port that still parts of it still exist today, but it was like huge when it came out, when it was first there. Like who knows exactly if the narrative is correct, but this is documented early on in history because Flavius Josephus is like, I think like the 1st century of the CE. Hold on, I'm trying to find this description real quick. But yeah, I'll just bring up this.
And
it's just a random website. This isn't the actual book.
It looks a lot. It's fairly similar to Mount Nimru, I think it is, which is fairly close to there, in Turkey, up the Mediterranean coast to the north. That is also recognized as a man-made giant pyramid on top of a mountain, and it's got where like all of those like crazy king heads and stuff on top of them. You
So
see
yes,
it?
this is a first century Jewish historian, Josephus Flavius, which him being Jewish is another question altogether. We won't go into that right now, but this is the description from the book. I don't think this is the complete one. This fortress, which is some 60 stadia distant from Jerusalem, is naturally a strong and very suitable for such a structure, and reasonably nearby is a hill raised to a greater height by hand of man. So right here he's admitting that it's built by men, and rounded off in a well shape breast at intervals. It has round towers and has a steep ascent formed of 200 steps of hewn stone. Within it are coastal royal apartments made for security and for ornament at the same time. At the base of the hill are pleasure grounds built in such a way as to be worth seeing. Yeah, you can read the rest, anyone, if you want to. We won't bore everyone with that, but it's shocking because think about if we didn't have this building, we didn't have pictures of it today, since this is the first century account of it, they would try to say that this is just exaggeration or it's not real. But since we actually have an example of it, they can't, just like what I think Lucius was saying.
Right, and there's
they can't really
so
cover
many. There's so many that they still try to claim aren't real, and that we're just, they made up those stories. They were hallucinating. Oh, they painted something that didn't exist. Blah blah blah. And it's like, then now every single one that it seems that we start to investigate, we're actually finding them or finding them under dams, or finding them exactly where their current quarries and mines are as well.
And they will resist tooth and nail to acknowledge these.
I gave another example on one of my streams recently talking about, the book of Marco Polo, how they say everything is an exaggeration, everything isn't real, blah, blah, blah. Well, in that book, he describes a giraffe. And like the way he describes a giraffe, for anyone who's never seen a giraffe before, just imagine that description. People would, if we didn't have examples of them existing, they'd say that it wasn't real, right? Because he describes other animals that they say aren't real. But there's no point in him describing it in such detail. Just like the platypus,
the first time it was described, right? Like from Australia back in the UK or whatever, they're like, yeah, right. You freaking glued a duck to a I forget the official story. It was taught to us in biology, but it was like they just couldn't believe it until they actually went and saw living ones, or had a living one brought back or something. Yeah, right. It's like
ridiculous.
And a lot of times when reading the ancient manuscripts that are like dubbed legends, and now with the new eyes and ears of like advanced technology, a lot of the time it actually sounds like they are describing exactly that, and like flying craft or interdimensional stuff and God knows what else. But it's very fascinating. And then when they make stuff like this, where they're literally making mountains and different things, all sorts of under mountain cities probably do exist and still exist.
Yeah, I think most mythology is based in fact, that it's actually more historical than we might think. Especially with the different type of creatures, that they were doing DNA work way back when. The other thing I've been noticing, and I don't think a lot of people are chiming in on, is if you've ever read the Bhagavad Gita, in the story is kind of about a prince, right? And in the story, they talk about these arrows and these spears. And these arrows and spears, literally, when they launch them and the spear or the arrow strikes, it's like a nuclear warhead. It literally devastates the area that it impacts. So something I've been looking at is the possibility that at one time when you look at things like Petra and the melt, and a lot of people say, oh, well, this was something that happened because there was a plasma discharge or whatever, or a comet that melted the buildings. But a lot of people aren't going back and saying, well, maybe there was some sort of war that caused all this destruction and this melting, and very possibly nuclear. And, and nobody really drops in with the, with the Bhagavad Gita or any of the Upanishads or the ancient Tibetan script. You study Sanskrit and go into those things. There's a lot of stories about this great war that happened in that time period.
Yeah, I subscribe to that, William, 100%. And and there's even depictions of what look like mushroom clouds and bombs next to them. And I think there's even one that they found in Egypt now as well, in the hieroglyphs of that too. But a lot of them in the Mahabharata and the other different ancient Indian epics, especially.
Yeah.
Well, Oppenheimer even quoted it.
They also have the story of that. I guess some people say it, like Praveen Mohan, for example. He says that there's a description of an AI robot who fought a battle within those Indian texts. I thought that was insane when I heard about it. I can't remember the details. It's been years since I've heard about it, but when you're talking about it, it just came across my mind.
Really? We're definitely going to have to look that one up again. I love Praveen Mohan's work too. He's solid. So
speaking of the animals, the weird animal thing, if you want to go into that, I found this book that was apparently
absolutely.
It's almost like it reminds me
of Alchemist. So we got to get into the cryptids.
It reminds me of the Voynich manuscript a little bit, but the reason I came across this book is because I was looking for evidence of that alleged trip of Mansa Musa going to, or not Mansa Musa, but the king before him, the Mansa that was before Mansa Musa. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head right now. Him allegedly going to South America. So this was supposed to be the source of that when I looked it up, but I don't think it is. I think it's something completely different because it's showing a lot of animals, but let me know when you can see it. I don't even know if I'm still in here because my computer's slow.
Definitely. Yeah. I love cryptids of all sorts. I'm trying to find a book that's on cryptids. Shout out to Frankie at New West Reset in the live chat. Frankie gave it to me. I've been meaning to do an episode on it, but I got to relocate it first. So many books. It's in here. So
a couple things that stood out in this book to me were that he's depicting all these different animals that actually exist. One thing I saw was he depicts the unicorn in here, and I'm just trying to see if I can find it. I don't remember what page it's on. Now my computer's frozen. Am I still in here? Am I still here? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can hear you, see you, and yeah.
So here's the depiction of the unicorn right here. So if anyone out there can read and understand Arabic, I would love to get in contact with you to see what this says. But another interesting animal that they show in this book was the double-headed phoenix or eagle, which is like the family crest for a lot of nations all throughout the world, and the coat of arms, for example, for Russia right now. Wow, my computer's very slow. But it's also depicted in here. And this book goes on to show a bunch of different plants, everything.
Nice.
I'm trying to get it to load.
It's you're coming through loud and clear though, and it
okay,
seems
good.
to be working.
So this is by a guy named Ibn Fadil Ala Umari. So he's apparently some very, I guess, knowledgeable Arabic source from, I can't remember the year that the whole Mansa Musa thing went down. Why is this not loading? I'm sorry, guys. If you want to share something else, I'll find this depiction of the double-headed eagle and then get back. You can go back to it. But what's interesting, another interesting thing about this book is that once it gets to the plant section, there are certain images missing of plants. So I'm not sure if they're just trying to prevent certain knowledge of plants from getting out, because they probably automatically assume that a lot of people can't read Arabic to begin with. So that's why they maybe don't mind releasing this to the public. But hold on, I think I definitely passed it because we're getting into the plants and bugs.
It's a recurring theme.
But Yeah, I really just want to show this real quick with the double-headed bird because it's very similar to the coat of arms that a lot of these families.
Double-headed phoenix.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I haven't found any evidence that this book talks about the trip of, I think his name's Abu Bakr II, Mansa Abu Bakr II, going to South America, which Robert Seffer came out with a video the other day talking about how the Mali Empire was Caucasian using DNA evidence. So I'm not sure. It kind of, when I saw that video, it changed my perspective on a lot of things. I haven't looked into it to verify what he's talking about, but he's usually pretty reliable.
That's
So
fascinating.
So I see in the comments, archivist, I guess that's analog, right? He says, and yes, I had the Anunnaki with the World War II bomb photo. So we got to get you on with me and Bernie, man, so we can talk about some of the stuff in Colorado and New Mexico, like out at Shiprock, for sure. Because you look at Shiprock, it looks like there was some sort of devastation over there as well.
We're getting warm. I see some birds.
Hey, sorry, everybody, got to go. The vet just showed up. It was great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, Lucius. I will show your channel here, and thank you for joining. We'll reschedule for another full episode here right away, brother. And excellent work. Good luck with your horse, and talk soon, my friends.
All right, take care, everybody.
Have a good
Thanks.
One. Peace. See you, Lucius.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is not loading for me. I'm sorry, guys.
No worries. I am just loading up Lucius's channel. If I could remember how to spell the last name for the life of me. Oh, God. Why didn't I do it before he left? Just kidding. Unos momentos, por favor.
Yeah, I mean, this is completely frozen. So if you want to move on to something else, that's fine. I can just bring it up again later. But in this book, it shows the double-headed. Yeah, unfortunately, my computer's just struggling right now.
We need to get Shem a new computer. Everybody donate $5 million to Shem. 5 million shekels to Shem.
Don't worry about that. Thanks, guys. Oh, here, I found it finally. If it's still up, there it is.
Yeah, still up.
So what this says, I have no idea, but it seems to be describing multiple different species of birds. I'm not sure why this would be depicted if it wasn't at least.
Oh, look at that. What?
So is there something more to this? I don't know. It could just be an artistic rendition. It kind of reminds me of the Voynich manuscript when it starts getting into the plants at the end of it. But obviously the Voynich manuscript, no one can really read. Well, they say there's translations available, but of course the establishment says none of them are accurate.
Right? Yeah, so, I don't know though. Like, I think there's a lot more to the Voynich manuscript than they let out. In that, there's some crazy knowledge in there, and the fact that they have yet to even begin to decipher it, there's a reason for that, I suspect. And
of course, they don't want us finding out the truth about anything, right? Anything 150 years back and beyond, they don't want us knowing what really happened then or what civilizations were like. How could there be a civilization that had more technology than we do now, right? Or even AI. And but yet you see the hieroglyphs and you see cell phones in these hieroglyphs. You see, right, whatever those Anunnaki guys are holding, the little purse. What's that thing? What do you think, Analog? What do you think that thing is?
Right, like there's all sorts of theories. Some people say it's like it was language. Some said it was a computer. Some said it was a portal device. Who knows? These more dolems in Montana here, and I love them so much because I see identical things here in Alberta, which is just north of there. And like, you can see that these rocks are not like cut or broken, but indeed different rocks placed in on just a ridiculously large size. And I think this one was supposed to be a carving or an animal or something, maybe a dinosaur even, who knows. This is the Siberian megalith, and that it's on this similar size in Montana and Alberta here. And that a lot of them seem like massive what would have had to been poured like a geopolymer, and just it's ridiculous the scale that these things are on. Like, what would the purpose of it be?
I guess just if we're saying that they built them, it could just be an ego-driven thing. Who can build the biggest?
Yeah, right. Whose giant's monolith was bigger? Sounds like the men of today, or half of them at least. The elites, yeah, all wanting their biggest rock out there. And then a lot of them are actually ridiculously huge walls that
Yeah, that's what I've got with all of my stuff from Spanish Peaks. They're just like these huge walls. They say they're volcanic dikes, but that is such horseshit.
Yeah, exactly, right. And like at what is it, Shiprock?
Right, yeah, Shiprock, yeah.
Yeah. And like the giant walls coming out of it each way too. It's like it's impossible to have formed geologically like that. It's just crazy what they claim out of it. But
yeah, and there's too many of them around too. You know, like if you look up on Google Earth at Spanish Peaks, and you look down on it in 2D, it looks like a big medicine wheel, and these walls are going out like 5 miles away from the mountain, all the way around the mountain. Like spokes coming out, like I said, like a medicine wheel. Shiprock, there's only 3 main ones that are left. But if you look really close at some of the images of Shiprock, it looks like, it got hit with cannonballs or something. I mean, you can see like round sections right in the middle of the wall where some of that's been taken out. Anyway.
I'd love to see it. I'm not familiar with the site.
Oh, Shiprock, it's crazy. Levi's, I think, done a couple of videos on it over the years.
Maybe I'll remember it when I see
look at this freaking like puma or cat, whatever it is, but like straight in the rock. Like it's a painting of a cat within the rock. It's nuts. And these polygon, look, it's even got like the knobs and stuff like the Japanese, the pyramids in Egypt, everywhere. The same polygonal, ridiculous, monolithic, megalithic works. Here's an Egyptian one. Oh, looks like a frickin' boat. I wonder if it would float. Not.
It looks like the minnow.
Got some more for us, Mr. Shim.
Oh no, I was just getting it ready just in case, but this is
I brought up some Shiprock photos too if you want to show them.
Oh yeah, let's check out those first.
So
sure, look at this.
Yeah, so this is a part of it here. Oops, let me go back to that. Yeah, so you can see this long wall here. There's another wall that comes out there and a wall that comes out behind it this way. But as you get in closer to the wall itself, you can see like these spots where it just looks like a cannonball hit it, or like this section where the section just got blown out of it. So it's a pretty wild place. Some sections look pretty burnt. You see like here's some of the wall, and the wall really looks like a lot of the walls that we've seen, around the world, where it's brick, it's large brick, and then they put the mortar over the top of it or whatever to cover it, and you can see it in sections like this.
It reminds me of. Have you heard of that city in Saudi Arabia that they're building called the Line? By any chance, it's like a.
Oh no!
It's almost like a history repeats itself type situation, if you imagine it in that way, because it's going to be a city that's stretching like, I think 130 miles or something, where it's just one wall on each side going long ways in the middle of the desert, and it's built multiple stories up and contains everything you need in a city, basically. Mm-hmm. I'll bring it up if you'd like, but it just, if you're saying that's a man-made construction. When you showed that one picture a couple of pictures ago,
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's absolutely nuts. And yeah, that would be like the remnants of it, right? Like, because after, like, it would, if civilization were to fall and it would just go down to rubble, the glass would like erode away, the metals would start to erode away, and it'd just be like this one line left over. Or yeah, like.
Yeah, this
is this.
So this is one of the ones coming out of Spanish Peaks, Colorado. This is called Big Wall. This thing's like, it's huge. It's like 3 stories tall. And this is just one of the many that are coming out of this.
It's ridiculous that they try to claim that is natural.
Right, right. Yeah. So let me close this out, and I'll bring up another one here. Give me a second.
Here's another face. This one's in Montana. It's not nearly as visible as like the Medicine Hat Badland Guardians, but you can see like the eyebrow, the rim, the eye, the nose, the mouth. Pretty good. And there's, I believe, 3 or 4 other ones very close by to this one. I need to find again the full report that I saw on it. Someone did, and that they've also found the geoglyphs in it as well. So it's almost an identical sort of geoglyph site, just over the border from the Medicine Hat Badland one.
Yeah, now this one is just a little bit away.
See the face on that guy?
See the eye, and so you see the eye here and the mouth and everything.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a canal that's dug all the way around this, or they call it Butte Ditch.
Right? They made the canal to that face, and what looks like a lake that is that what feeds it at the top there and goes all the way around and down?
Yeah. And then if you see, this is like a 90-degree angle here, but now if I spin this guy around, we've also got down here a bear face, it looks like.
Oh, wow. Do you ever? And that's the same canal?
Yeah, it's the same. This ditch goes all the way around this butte here, and it's not very far from this whole Spanish Peak area. Right.
Wow.
Here. So
how many in a row do we now need for it to
so
no
here's
longer be pareidolia?
Right, so here's Spanish Peak. So you can see these lines coming out, right? All these lines coming out. These are all walls, like that wall I showed you, Big Wall. All coming out, like this one here. We'll go to 3D. Move in on this. This might even be Big Wall. But they're literally coming out all, no, that's not the one, but they're coming out of this thing all around it. And some of these things are 3-4 stories high.
Right, like look at that. Like,
see, there's another one there.
The giant ones up by me and in Montana that are the polygonal structured, but massive on the same scale of being like stories tall. And clearly they were building walls everywhere in the past to keep something out.
Yeah, let me go to the Devil's Staircase. That one will blow you away too. And this is all coming out of the same mountain. This one goes for 5 miles coming out of this mountain. the Devil's Stair Steps. And it's like 3 stories high in some places. Oh. This isn't a good view from that side. In Google Earth, you don't really see a lot. I'll exit out of this thing and go to a image. But anyway, it's like crazy insane how many walls there are coming out of this mountain. And they say these are volcanic dikes, right? And guess what the geologists say is the primary thing in the center of them? Quartzite. Okay, so what happens to material under mineralized water? Turns to quartz. Yeah?
Wow.
Pretty crazy, huh? Yeah, I'll
Like,
turn. Let me find the picture of that Devil's Staircase.
Most possibly, right? Some say it's potential, and I could believe potential for one of the, if there were the giant trees, that it could be like the stump and the roots, or it could be leftover remnants of past ancient mega terraformed structures of technology and some sort of purpose, especially with the quartzite in it. If not the trees, like I'm open to all the ideas, but it's definitely not what they claim it is, and something much, much more.
Yeah, you know it. So here's Devil's Stair Steps. So you can see this coming off of the highway, how crazy huge this thing is. That was the wall I was showing you there. You can see this. And this thing really, it runs for 5 or 6 miles out of that mountain. And it's not the only one there. But this geologist said that they found like quartzite veins right in the center of this thing. Anyway.
I'd love to see someone get up close and take some video or photos where you can actually see in detail what the rock looks like, because I can't really say anything from these photos.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
My opinion on it.
Yeah, you can. The big wall one, you can really see the kind of the material a little more. I'm
just trying to figure out what is the determining factor between what's formed naturally and what's formed by man, because obviously that mountain in the background is more than likely not built by man, or do you think it's also built by man?
I don't know. I'd have to go boots on the ground out there and do some research, but this certainly was built. This is not from a volcano, and they're all around this thing. So, anyway, I need to do a follow-up video on that, and I want to try and get out there this summer with a drone and really explore.
Yes, please definitely do. That would be epic. Oh, the line in Saudi Arabia, right?
Okay,
so it's like if you had a hotel that was like a tower and then 4 lines coming out of it, that's potentially exactly what this could look like.
So it says here that this is going to be 110 miles long. So just imagine that.
Nice.
So like you were saying earlier, I don't know exactly what the process is of glass, but what you were saying sounded like it would make sense. Over time, it might turn into something else, but let's just look at a picture of it real quick. Or I guess these are just renderings of what it will look like, but I did a video about this a while ago on my Instagram. But yeah, it's just going to be allegedly an amazing city. I would definitely visit it. I don't know about living there. So it's walled in on both sides, and then you'll be living and having all the shops on each side, and then like parks and everything else, and park on top of it apparently.
Wow.
I don't know. Very strange. But when you were showing that first picture, that's what it kind of made me think of, is if it was a structure, maybe it was something like this. Maybe history is just repeating itself.
Very well could be. There's a lot of these around that area too, where you see it's kind of like 2 walls and something in the center. And then there's Stonewall, Colorado, and this little town is like built right around this one major wall, and they call this the Dakota Wall, and it literally runs from Canada all the way to Mexico. So
Wow.
it's pretty, so I've been trying to follow it on Google Earth and, check it out and see how much of it is visible. But if you look like from Stonewall and you go south, there's probably 30 miles of it that's visible, at least above the ground.
Well, the other day I was looking in a quarry by this cave that I was exploring, and I noticed that I wasn't going there looking for this, but I saw that it looked like there was a massive wall that was constructed right in dead center of the quarry. I don't know if it would be considered to be a part of a fort or if it'd be just something else, but the stonework on it was really strange to be right in the middle of a quarry and for it not to be at least shaped by man at some point. I'll bring up a video maybe here in a second, but actually might as well just bring it up now. Why not? But this crane that I'm showing on the screen is basically allegedly how the Romans were and all the historical peoples were building these massive structures, because this crane can lift, it says double load of 6,000 kilograms. I think that's around 60 tons. So if you think about the pyramids and stuff like that, I think the blocks were only around 2 tons, right? So this is just mainstream history, common sense stuff. It's nothing crazy, but some people haven't heard about this before, and there are depictions of this. Like right here, it says on Hitari tombstone, where they have depictions of this Roman crane, the way that they would construct buildings. One thing I think it's weird about it is that they say that a man would walk inside of this, or multiple people would walk to power it. But if you think about the idea that, let's take the Romans for example, they had water. They had water-powered stuff. They had the capability of transferring obelisks across the Mediterranean Sea from Egypt to Rome. They carved this tunnel from this lake all the underground. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but basically carved a tunnel from this lake underground that still exists to this day. That's it was bombed by the Nazis at the end of World War II, which is the only reason it's closed right now. But it's just like this. All these capabilities of them to do all this stuff, and they want to pretend like they don't have the capability of, for example, at least powering this crane with water or something else, right? Not using a man walking inside of it.
Right.
You would think that if they're building something, especially along a riverway or a canal, they would just use the water to turn the wheel, right? Or some sort of device to just make it easier to function. But yeah, I guess there's only 2 depictions of this from ancient Rome that are available today. How ancient is Rome? Who knows? But yeah, let me try to find this video real quick of the wall, and we can maybe take a look at it and digest a little bit. I showed it on Bernie's stream the other night. I was shocked when I saw it, because when I got to the quarry, if it turns out you're not allowed to be there, but thankfully on the other side, on the south side of the quarry, they turned it into like a mountain bike trail or something. So I just parked over there and quickly walked and got some video of it before anyone complained, because you're not allowed to walk on the trail apparently.
Oh wow!
Of course they just try to
right, so ridiculous. Oh, here's a trail. Oh no, definitely can't use this trail. That it's a trail to walk on, but no, definitely not. No trailing along.
Yeah. Like the Grand Canyon. Oh, I'm sorry, we covered those caves up. You can't go in them anymore. Yeah, please don't run a drone up there, or we'll destroy it.
Please don't. The thing is, they have the software set up to where you can't fly a drone over to these areas anymore.
You literally can't get your drone. It prevents it from going up now, because it's a legal no-fly zone. No fly zone, no hike zone. I gotta get the picture from Julia again that shows she was in an airplane flying over from Vegas and got an unbelievable picture of, I believe, the Krishna temple, something, but whatever the one, it looks like a huge sphinx. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I was thinking about that photo after you showed it. It was the other night. When I first saw it, I don't know, it all hit me at once. I guess once the stream was over, I was like, oh, that is pretty crazy,
right?
But
I know.
Did you ever entertain the idea that the Sphinx is actually Anubis? That's what Chuck was saying.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times. And
or that it wasn't, and it was carved later. that it was something else before.
So as you can see here, it says federal law requires anyone entering the mining to properly register, or mining property to register at the main office. The reason I knew about this place is because I delivered for FedEx for like 5 years, and I delivered here a lot of times. So I didn't know that you had to register at the office. When I delivered for FedEx, they never said anything like that to me. They never even really talked to me. I just kind of dropped off the packages. But I got out of my car real quick to just look at this northern area that's restricted. And you'll be able to see in a second how small the equipment is. So the reason that this area is slightly interesting is because on old maps of Franklin County, which is where this is at, in this area, it doesn't show anything about there being a quarry. But if you look at the mainstream narrative of this place, it says that they started mining this and 3 other quarries in this area in the mid 1800s. Well, the maps I'm looking at are from 1880, 1895, and 1910. And none of them show these quarries existing at that time. They still have the families owning the properties. So right next to this place, to the northeast of where I'm standing now, is a place that used to be called Indian Village. And I found a cave in there that I was doing a little video of the other day. But I was walking down the river. It was dried up, so I was walking down the river, and I noticed that on the way to the cave I was going to, it looked like there was brickwork along the river, as if there had been a canal there before, it's right next to a dam as well. I don't know, it's really weird, but let's get to this wall, not waste too much time. So this is the first peak of the wall, not this wall. Well, that's pretty cool too, but this right at the bottom of the screen right here is what I'm talking about. This isn't the good angle.
Oh yeah.
I get a better angle of it later on. I wish I could just play the video, but my computer is very slow. Oh, there it is. Go full screen.
That's okay though, because I've got to go to my dentist appointment, and my dad is screaming at me that I need to get on the road. I love you all. Would you like to continue, and I can keep it going from my phone, or do you guys want to do another one?
Yeah, we'll jump back on another time, man.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Much love to the both of you. I also just posted both of your channels' links in the live chats. William's Antediluvian America and Shem's new channel, Shem Jacobs at Tartarian Truth at YouTube. Make sure everybody goes and subscribes to all. But literally, as Shem is showing here, in your own backyard, you can have mounds, pyramids, and quarries that most likely were advanced ancient cities and blockworks that they called Indian Village and now are quarrying away. And on that note,
please consider doing your part of documenting any mounds or anything in your area before they're gone, because we lose so much so quickly. But yeah, thank you for having me, Bernie. And
absolutely.
Will, good talking.
Nice to see you guys. Have a good one.
For sure. And exactly what Shem said. Go out and document everything as much as you can before they delete it or destroy it. Much love.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just Bernie!
Hey, Bernie, just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.
And then it